Chicago's Reproductive Genetics Institute is one of the most advanced genetic and fertility institutions in the world. Founded in 1989 by Dr. Yuri Verlinsky, the Reproductive Genetics Institute became the first to develop and perform revolutionary procedures to identify and prevent hereditary diseases. Preimplantation Genetic Diagnosis, or PGD, is the ultimate evolution in prenatal testing. Conducted in concert with in vitro fertilization, the scientists at RGI are able to perform a battery of tests on oocytes and embryos before a pregnancy is established. Thus, PGD not only increases pregnancy success rates and reduces spontaneous abortions, it virtually ensures that your baby will be born free of genetic and chromosomal abnormalities. In 1990, RGI founded and coordinated the International Working Group on Preimplantation Genetics Diagnosis and published the first books in this fledgling new field. That same year, the Institute organized the first international conference on preimplantation genetics, an event that has grown in scope and now represents both the mainstream and the vanguard in the field of genetics.
When we first started in vitro fertilization, it became clear that there was a chance to see if you could identify embryos that were carrying genetic diseases. Now, these diseases are sometimes quite awful and can result in the death of a child very early in life. And if we could identify them in a very early embryo and avoid replacing those embryos and instead replace normal embryos, then the child would not suffer. Now, that is basically what PGD is.
Hundreds of scientists and physicians from around the globe attend the conferences, which are held at alternating international venues. In May of 2005, the 6th International Symposium on Preimplantation Genetics was held at the Queen Elizabeth II Conference Centre in London. Attended by genetic specialists from around the globe, the conference focused on new advances in the field of genetics, including clinical applications of stem cells. The event was chaired by RGI Director Dr. Yuri Verlinsky, along with Professor Robert Edwards, the father of IVF, and Professor James Watson, who published the first breakthrough research on DNA. In a special ceremony, the London Symposium on Preimplantation Genetics celebrated 2 million children who were born through IVF, along with 2,000 babies born with the assistance of PGD. At RGI, our work begins long before we glance into a microscope. Our board-certified genetic counselors will carefully research your family history, determining the most likely risk factor to you and your baby. Following detailed counseling, the eggs are retrieved. The first polar body is removed from each of them for analysis, and then the eggs are fertilized in vitro in our cutting-edge laboratory. From the fertilized eggs, our embryologists remove and analyze the second polar body. Later, each embryo is biopsied and subjected to a battery of highly advanced tests, such as FISH and PCR. Today, these tests can detect more than 100 common hereditary diseases, including cystic fibrosis, myotonic dystrophy, thalassemia, and Tay-Sachs. In addition, RGI has developed over 150 tests for many rare single gene disorders, making PGD a reality for many at-risk families. RGI can also effectively detect and identify many debilitating chromosomal disorders, such as Down syndrome, trisomy 13 and 18, and Turner syndrome. Once we've selected a disorder-free embryo, it can be transferred to initiate a healthy pregnancy. By identifying and isolating disease before pregnancy, PGD represents a true revolution in reproductive medicine. But PGD is just the beginning. Through their groundbreaking work in HLA typing and cord blood stem cell preservation, the scientists of RGI offer real hope to families with children affected by deadly hereditary diseases like Fanconi's anemia in the case of little Molly from Colorado, or leukemia that struck Victor from London. By achieving successful results in several internationally recognized cases, RGI has opened a new avenue to research for the cure for millions of people all over the globe.
Then menu of preimplantation genetic diagnosis expand to diagnose chromosomal abnormalities and latent disorders like cancer, Alzheimer, and then to life-saving procedure to select embryo not only free of disease, but also HLA match to sick sibling.
Besides the traditional amniocentesis, RGI offers expectant mothers valuable diagnostic services, such as CVS, chorionic villus sampling, a procedure we pioneered in 1981. First trimester screening is the latest development in prenatal care that provides crucial information about your health and the health of your baby. Using a combination of a simple blood test and an advanced ultrasound, we are now able to pinpoint many potential problems in the first 3 months of your pregnancy. The multinational staff of Reproductive Genetics Institute is made up of world-class authorities in their respective fields. That's why the Institute was selected by the World Health Organization as the only collaborating center in the U.S. responsible for the development and application of ethically acceptable approaches for the prevention of genetic disorders.
We have just established the Research and Education Center in our institution, which would concentrate on developing the future technologies, including the diagnostic tests that should be more accurate and in the future might be applied in wider scales. On the other hand, we also try to use these technologies in order to develop future therapies, and these therapies would be based on the development of the embryonic stem cells that we have in our institution.
RGI has again positioned itself on the front line of medical science by developing its own methodology of extracting human embryonic stem cell lines and creating individually reprogrammed stem cells, or stem brids, to be used in clinical applications. Today, Reproductive Genetics Institute and its British affiliate StemRide possess a bank of almost 300 embryonic stem cell lines, including over 50 lines affected by known genetic disorders like Parkinson's, cystic fibrosis, sickle cell, thalassemia, and others. All this invaluable biomaterial is ready to be distributed worldwide for medical research and clinical tryouts. In 2006, RGI organized the first international conference on stem cell research and clinical applications, an annual event that brings together leading experts in this field of future medicine. The Reproductive Genetics Institute has helped thousands of couples achieve and maintain successful and risk-free pregnancies. Thousands of healthy children around the world have been born as a result of our groundbreaking research and practices. No matter where you live, if you have serious concerns about the health of your future child, RGI is there to offer you state-of-the-art testing and treatment. Call us, and we'll refer you to one of our own clinics or to a number of collaborating fertility and PGD facilities across the United States, in South America, Europe, and the Middle East. With new PGD centers opening every year all over the world, RGI is committed to solving the